So welcome for this presentation about mobile device management security. My name is Sébastien Andrivet, and I'm living in Switzerland, in Geneva, and I'm specialized in security, especially on mobiles. I'm doing also some forensic, and I'm C++ and assembly developer. I'm also a cyber feminist activist, but this is another story. The agenda, I will talk about smart devices, BYOD, and this kind of terms, about what is an MDM and the differences between the different flavors of MDMs, the current MDM markets, and then I will talk about the security of some of those products. In this graphic, the numbers themselves are not very important. What is important is to show that there are different devices, iOS and Android. And you also have BlackBerry and Microsoft phone. This is not something which is new. You already know that. And to manage in a corporate, to be able to manage these devices, you need a system. And there are different kind of systems. MDM means mobile device management. The goal of MDM is to manage the device themselves. I will focus during this presentation about MDM, but I will talk a little bit about the other systems. MEM is to manage applications. It's a little bit like a private app store or Google Play, private to a company. And MCM is to manage content, not applications themselves, but content. Very often you find a mix of the different of these different systems inside a product. As I said, I will focus on MDM. Typical features of MDM are listed there. First, you need an MDM to be able to track your devices, to your assets, your hardware. Then to manage software. Software, I mean operating system, for example, to be able that your users are only using a recent version of the operating system. It could be used also, it depends on the product, but it could be used to manage telephone expenses. In this case, the product has to coordinate with your telephony provider. It could be used also for device tracking, geolocalization. It's an option most of the time. It could be used for backup, restore, remote locking, wipe if you lose a device, and applications deployment. Application deployment is more MEM feature, but you find it most of the time in MDM products. There are several terms around MDM. Wim already talked about BYOD, bring your own device. The device is bought and owned by the employee. And you have another model, which is COPE. It's corporate owned, personally enabled. It's less common today, but it's an interesting model. The device is the property of the company, but as an employee, you are allowed to install, for example, your private email. Differences between these different models is with the cost of the device. You pay the device, or your company is paying the device. The ownership of the data, even if it's not very clear, even if you own your device, it's your private emails, it's not very clear if the company has some rights on this data or not. And management. I will continue with other aspects. You have different kind of mobile device management system. Some are using a NOC, a network operation center, a central relay, a central server somewhere, like BlackBerry and good technologies. and some are not using a central server, and it has some implication regarding the network configuration, for example. I will talk more about that later. You have, to simplify, you have 3 different models of deployment. You can deploy most of the time on-premise, in virtual machine. It could be on physical machine, but today it's more on physical servers. You can buy an appliance, or it could be cloud-based. And more, you have these 3 different possibilities for one product. The difference with cloud-based is that you are renting, you are not buying, you are renting. In this presentation, I will focus on the on-premise case. This is a diagram from Gartner. You have some of the MDM products, and you have AirWatch, Mobileiron, Citrix, SAP, good technology in FiberLink. And I will focus on Mobileiron and good technologies. So with Mobileiron, you are able to manage devices. They support iOS, Android, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, and some other models. You can build an enterprise app store. You can integrate this system with your enterprise because they support an API. It could be, for example, for the enrollment, to put your own business logic during the enrollment. And they have a MDM product, a pure MDM product, and another product which is called Sentry, which is an exchange or Lotus Notes proxy. As I said previously, there is no NOC, and you can install on-premise or cloud-based. I think they also have an appliance. I forget to put it. Something which is important is that they are using native applications. If you are using an iPhone, you will use the mail application made by Apple. And this is different from Good. With Good, you can also manage devices. They are not supporting BlackBerry, and I think they will not support BlackBerry in the future. You can also build an enterprise app store. And contrary to Mobileiron, to access to the email, to the Exchange server, you have to go through the Good servers. They are using a NOC, so there is a server somewhere on the internet, and which relays every data. And they are using their own applications. You have an application with emails, so emails, business calendar, and business contact. If you are looking at the security, what they say about security, they use the security word everywhere. For them, it's a strong marketing advantage, or I don't know exactly how to say that. And if you make some research on the internet, it's possible to find some things, but not so much. If you look at CVE, there is nothing regarding Good and Mobileiron. If you look at ExploitDB, there is one entry 2 weeks ago. I will talk a little more about that. There is also a paper, an article about good hacking on open security research, and a paper about from ISEC partners. I will talk about these different papers later. You find also something about SCAPE, but this problem is not specific to mobile device management system. And XCon, it's an application you can find on Cydia. It's to remove the jailbreak detection. So there are not a lot of problems of vulnerability disclosed. So apparently these products are good. As I said, I'm living in Switzerland, and in Switzerland we have a lot of things. We have chocolate, we have Swiss knives, cuckoo clocks, watches, and most important, we have banks with a lot of money. And your money, or money of your politician, and thank you for that. And my goal was to determine if it's possible for an operator, for an MDM admin, using good or Mobileiron, to steal emails without any authorization, and if it's possible, is it traceable? In other terms, is it possible to steal information and sell them to Germany, France, and United States? It was not possible to test these products completely. They are a little big, and it takes time. So I choose to focus only on installation, deployment, enrollment of device, and I spend the majority of my time on the management interfaces. I made 2 series of tests, one series last year and another one this month. Last year I have tested Mobileiron and Good, but this month I have tested only Mobileiron. And it's both with Exchange and on-premise in a virtual machine owned by me. Okay, so regarding the deployment, with Good, we have a NOC. So it's possible to relay the network traffic. So your devices are connected to the NOC somewhere on the internet, and your MDM server is also connected to the Good server somewhere on the internet. So you only have outgoing network connections. You don't have to make any hole in your firewall. So it's a good point. This is what they say. It's true, but you need to open something, because to be able to enroll devices, you need to access a self-service portal. So there is one port. If we compare with Mobileiron, it's very different. There is no NOC. So your devices are connected directly to your MDM server, and you have to open some ports on your firewall. This is a list of ports. I think it's almost complete. You also have to open your firewall between your DMZ and your internal server. Yes, I forgot something. With Mobileiron, not Mobileiron, sorry. With Good, something which is a little bit strange for me is that you can't put your server in a DMZ. Technically you can, but if you do so, you lose the SLA. It's like that. I ask them why. They tell me, but you don't need a DMZ because you only have outgoing network requests. Okay, why not? Okay, so in this case, you need to open some holes between your DMZ and Exchange, for example, LDAP, and to be able to access your Exchange server. Okay, so this is for the network. Regarding operating systems, Mobileiron is using CentOS, and Good is using Windows Server. Windows Server 2003, 2008. I'm not sure they are supporting today 2012. And if we look at the processes running the MDM, with Good, the MDM itself, the services are running as administrator of the server. And you have no choice. It's not possible to remove that after the installation. Again, they told me, you can try, but if you do so, you lose the SLA. Okay. With Mobileiron, it's different. They are using a classical Linux deployment with a user for Tomcat, a user for Apache, MySQL, etc. Regarding Exchange, as I said, Mobileiron is as some sort of proxy. They call this Sentry. It's an active sync a proxy. What they do is they link a device to a user. If you try to access emails, I try to access my emails, but not from my device. From another device, it will be refused. And for good, everything is everything is going through the good server. So you have to give to the good server almost all rights to the Exchange mailboxes. So when you are reading mails with the good application on your device, you are not reading the emails. The good server is reading the emails. And there is a way to read, for an administrator, to read the emails of someone else. It just has to enroll a new device, and it's possible for an administrator. Normally, when you do that, the victim will receive an email saying that follow this procedure to register a new device, but as an administrator, you can remove this option. You can remove the email. And there is no need for the password of the account. And you register the device, and that's all. You are able to read the emails. It was documented by Open Security Research in April 2012. And now I will talk about the administration interface. I will focus mainly on Mobileiron, and I will talk a little bit about good. Something which is important, what I will show you is from last year, and today things are a little bit different. Okay, so this is the administration interface of Mobileiron. It's a web portal. You have a list of devices. So here you have a list of devices. I have only one in this screenshot, and different tabs to configure policies, this kind of things. Here you can have some details about the device, etc. And the first thing, it's what I call a magic request, because for me it's really magic. You send a simple request with get local user, and you get the password in clear of your colleagues. It's magic. Of course, you need to be not only an administrator, but you need some access to the administration interface. If you are not authenticated, it will not work. But you are able to find in clear the password of your colleagues. In this example, this is my password, and this is the password of my colleague, which is called Fatima. Another magic request, very similar. It's this time regarding LDAP. With Mobileiron, you can configure, you can connect the mobile device management system to Active Directory. So when your users are accessing their mailbox, they are validating by Active Directory or some LDAP. And to do that, the MDM server needs an account in the Active Directory. It's configured somewhere. And again, you can retrieve this password in clear with this simple GET request. So in this case, it's here. And why? My guess is that it's a development mistake. They have some objects somewhere, and when they receive, the server is receiving this get something, they just serialize the object which is in memory, and they forget to remove the passwords. And that's why you are able to retrieve the password. The next step is to try to find cross-site scripting, and there are cross-site scripting in various places. It's not very complicated in this example. It's in labels. You can define some labels and some rules in labels, and you just put after the name you choose, you put, for example, this. It's a simple image tag with an image which does not exist, and an error is triggered, and you have this. It's very simple cross-site scripting. And there are cross-site scripting in various places. This is an example from Good. For Good, it's a little bit different, but because apparently they are using some framework, some anti-cross-site scripting library, but they forget to use it in one place, but only in one place. So you are able to use a cross-site scripting vulnerability, but hopefully they are using HTTP only attribute, so it's not possible, it's not simple from a JavaScript to retrieve, for example, the session cookie. Mobileiron is also using this HTTP option to avoid framing the management interface. So they take into account some risk, but they made very basic security mistakes. The next step is to try to find cross-site request forgery, and there are cross-site request forgery mistakes everywhere, on every page. And something which is interesting for an attacker is that even if you have a post, you can transform the post into a GET, and it's far more easier to exploit a GET. A GET, you can just use an image, for example, and the post is a little bit more complicated. For Good, it's not exactly the same. They have cross-site request forgery problems almost everywhere, but it's not possible to transform a post into a GET. They verify that you are using a post when they expect a post. With that, we have built some proof of concept, and one example is to remove the passcode of an iPhone. You can configure an iPhone with a passcode, and to be able to access the iPhone, you need to unlock the device. But there are some exceptions to that. For example, if you connect by USB cable the phone to iTunes, I think you have to unlock at least one time. But after, even if the device is locked, you are able, iTunes is able to make a backup. So it is able to access the phone even if the phone is locked. And another exception is MDM. This is done by Apple, it's on purpose. The MDM API from Apple is private, but there is an API to unlock a phone. It's not to unlock the phone, it's to remove the passcode. And since Mobileiron is MDM, we can exploit that. So we have built a small proof of concept, and by exploiting cross-site request forgery, and with that we were able to remove the passcode of an iPhone. It's the request again is very simple. It's something like that. So it's written unlock, but in fact it will not unlock the phone. It will remove the passcode. And you just have to put here the UUID of the phone. Of course, you need something to deliver this kind of payload with cross-site scripting, for example. We have made a similar proof of concept with Good. This time it was more complicated. We have to combine 3 different vulnerabilities: a cross-site scripting, a cross-site request forgery, and a data leakage. And this way we were able to give admin rights to any user. It is not exactly the exploit, but it's very similar to that. In this case, we have to use a post. As I said, it's not possible to use a get. I said that I show you the administration interface of Mobileiron, but they have another interface, a command line interface, which is accessible on the device itself, on the server itself, or through SSH or Telnet. You can disable Telnet. And you have something like that. It's very similar to a Cisco router. Yes, you can enter some commands like show logs, for example, show log, for example. And as I said, there is an exploit which is documented in ExploitDB 2 weeks ago. And the principle of this exploit is that when you are using the show log command, underneath they are using less and they are running as root. And in less, by default, you are able to run commands, shell commands, with this exclamation mark or pointer or the pipe sign. But today it's patched. Okay, so that was the state last year, and today they have fixed most of these security problems. Apparently they made some security tests, but there are still some problems remaining, especially regarding encryption. Both products are using AES, SHA-1, SHA-2, etc. They are FIPS certified. Okay, so the implementation is apparently good, but what about the keys? In Mobileiron, to be able to manage the system, you need a user. And in this case, it's not possible to import users from Active Directory. It's like that. You need to define local users. And these local users are stored in an XML file, identityconfig.xml. And you have the password here, which is encrypted. If you look better, so they are using base64 encoding, AES encryption with ACB mode, PKCS5 padding, okay, no problem with that. But the key is very simple. The key is something like Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful, and I will not say the last word. It's not a word. It's not, I have not done a typo. The typo was done by the developer, or perhaps it's on purpose. And they just take this passphrase, they make a SHA-1 one time, and this is the key. So we made another proof of concept. This key is the same, so for every installation. And there is no salt, no iteration. There is one iteration, no PBK DF2 or something like that. And we are, with our small Java application, we are able to recover all passwords. We already know that they are using some symmetric encryption because we were able to retrieve the password in clear with magic requests. They use the same encryption for various information. And what about the password of users, of smart devices users? I was very surprised to find a colon password in a table MI user. And I have some users here. And these users Flora, Daniel, Rodrigo, Fatima have all the same password. And you see that the password hash is the same for all. It's not very complicated to guess that it's a SHA-1, a simple SHA-1 with no salt. And something which is strange is that the password, the encrypted password, is different. But no, it's not completely different, because the password of Daniel, the encrypted password of Daniel, is the same than Fatima. And it's different, so it's very, very strange. And if you make some tests, you are able to deduce that, in fact, they are using 5 keys. These keys are the same for every installation. These keys are initialized at runtime and are hard-coded. And to encrypt a password, they choose one key randomly. And when they need to verify a password, when you authenticate, for example, they verify with each key one by one. And when it's working, it's working. And this password hash, in fact, is used to verify that it's actual key. So again, we made a small Java application, and we are able to recover the password from a MySQL database or a Mobileiron backup, which are more or less the same thing. So it means that in this kind of installation, we are able to recover the password of everybody using a smart device. But why? It was very surprising. Why are they storing these passwords? Because they have another product, which is Sentry, which is an ActiveSync proxy. So you are using your normal mail application. It communicates with the proxy. And why are the passwords stored on the MDM server? And where are they coming from? From the service portal, because to register a new device, the user has to register, so he has to authenticate. Perhaps they copy the password, they store the password at this time. From the Sentry server, from NSA, because at this moment we talk a lot about that. No, in fact, the password is coming from your device. When you enroll your device, you have to install an agent. It's called Mobileiron in the case of Mobileiron. And you enter your password, and at this time, it is transmitted to the server and it is stored. And it took me a lot of time to understand why they are doing that. And I discovered recently that, in fact, it's an option. You have the option save user password. And if you read the documentation, they recommend to say yes to that. And why? It's because when you are registering a new device, you have the possibility to push an Exchange profile on iOS, for example. And with this option, they are able to fill the password field automatically. So it's for user convenience. Okay, I will not talk a lot about agent on devices. You can find information on the internet. There was a presentation this year in Black Hat by Lacoon, which is practical attacks against mobile device management, and it was on the agent, how to break the secure container. I think it's why Vim says this morning that good is broken. For Android, I agree, but for iOS, in my point of view today, it's not exploitable, because you have to jailbreak or using something similar to a jailbreak, and when you jailbreak today, you have to reboot the device. and if you reboot the device, everything which is in memory is lost. So they discover something, they discover the keys in memory, but in my point of view, it's not exploitable. It's exploitable on Android. There is another paper from ISEC Partners, which is auditing enterprise class applications and secure containers on Android. It was last year. It's almost the same than Laccoon. It's only on Android. It's about Good and Mobileiron, and they were able to break the encryption. They were able to find the encryption keys to break the secure container and also to defeat root detection. There are several other subjects around the security and mobile device management systems. Mobileiron is not using iOS keychains very well. There are some problems with the AES key generation with Good and the NOC. It's not Prism, but it's very close to that. There are some problems with jailbreak detection also, perhaps for another talk. So to conclude, the actual security of such mobile device management systems is very dependent of your installation. You have to review every single detail, every single feature. You have to be an expert of those mobile device management systems to have something which is really secure. If you follow what they are recommended, you have an installation which is not secure. It's also very dependent of your deployment context. I talk about the portal, the self-service portal. It has to be somewhere on the internet, to be or in Wi-Fi, and most of the time, several companies are deploying this as a public Wi-Fi or on the internet. It's not very easy to make a private Wi-Fi for that. Again, by default, they are not supporting private IPs, etc., etc. This field is a little bit new. They are improving, but there are still some security problems. It's also difficult to say today if one product is better than another. Regarding network, I prefer Good because you don't have to open holes in your firewall. But I have some problems with the way Good is generating AES keys. It's not very clear who is generating the keys. So there are advantages and disadvantages for both products. And to finish, I want to thank you, my colleague. Most of these vulnerabilities were discovered by Flora, my colleague. And if you have questions, express yourself. No question? I have one for myself. I tried to contact Good and Mobileiron. And for Good, the reaction was, okay, you find something, but you sign when the contract. They were not interested at all by my discoveries. And for Mobileiron, it was a little bit different. I sent them the first magic request, and I think they put this in a black hole, something like that. Frankly, today they don't care. Thank you.